What's up, guys? I recently went on a trip to New Zealand to find Pokemon cards. Just kidding. Nope, I went for a wedding, but that didn't stop me from trying out all the card shops that I could find. I will say I was a little shy about doing buyer POVs, so the footage isn't the best, but I did get some clips. Let's go check out what I found and see how my trip went. First day, we arrived really early, around 6 a.m. We met up with our friend at her cookie shop, shout out Mustache. Then we went to the mall while we waited for our room to get ready. Our first card shop was a card merchant called West City. It was a big store with tons of room for card events. The vendor there was friendly. They had a little bit of sealed, some scented hero tins. They had binders of singles. I checked out a couple things, but I decided not to buy anything there. First shop, I thought maybe I could get something a little cheaper. Stay tuned to see if I do. The next day we headed up to North Shore in Takapuna. We went to the beach a little bit before brunch. Then we checked out the card merchant, Takapuna, a small shop. They didn't have any Pokemon singles, but they did have some of the newer sealed tins and 2-packs. After that, we went to Vagabond Games in Takapuna, right down the street. They also had some of the same sealed that had just released, but again, no Pokemon singles. They have a lot of board games and other TCG stuff. Last stop in North Shore, we went to Hobby Lord. They had a massive player space, tons of room for playing and stuff. They had some of the Chinese gem pack boxes, as well as some of the newer boxes too, the newer sealed stuff. But no singles again. The vendor there was really friendly. He even referenced a sister shop that had Ascended Heroes that I was looking for. I recall that Ascended Heroes had just released the ETBs that Friday. I did start to notice that the MSRP, or market price, was slightly higher there in the US. Even when you converted the currencies, I figured that it was probably because he's an island and has to import all of this stuff. Definitely wasn't what I expected, but you know, that's what I saw. Then we stopped back in the city, had some lunch, and then we checked out Vagabond Games in Auckland. It was a cool store packed with a bunch of board games and various CCGs. They only had a few singles and they didn't have any sealed boxes, but this store was probably the busiest one that we visited. You can kind of see the footage of that. We took a quick trip over to Newmarket where we hit up a different Hobby Lords. They had a 2-pack left of the Ascended Heroes, which I picked up. They had already allocated like all of the ETBs and the other 2-packs to reservations or something, I think. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Last stop at Newmarket was Shuffle and Cut, one of the few non-chain card shops that we visited. They had ETBs and even the poster collections a little early, but they were all above market price. So it was too expensive, I didn't buy them. The vendor was cool though. This would be our last full day in Auckland, and we would fly out to Wellington the next day. Our first card shop in Old Welly was Cerberus Games, a small cozy store with various TCGs, but they were out of Pokemon. The next store down the street was Card Merchant Wellington. They had a good selection of singles and a couple of binders. I ended up picking up a moderately played Ampharos Prime and a Karen Rainbow in units. The store had plenty of room for players, and the vendor was pretty friendly. Unfortunately, after this weekend, the whole family got sick. It took a few days where we felt well enough to function, managed to squeeze out a hike, and after a lot of stairs, we got to see some pretty nice views. Later in the week, we checked out Bea D&D Games, more of a game store. The place was cozy with some tables to play. They had some sealed 2-packs that we saw at most stores. After that, we headed over to Hobby Lords in Lower Hutt, a massive store with plenty of table space. They had some interesting Chinese Pokemon products that we hadn't seen, as well as I just don't see them pretty often at all. They had no English Pokemon at the store when we went, but they did have a vendor setting up for a trade night later that night that we wouldn't be able to get to. But since she was set up already, we browsed some of the binders, and I picked up some binder copies of Meryl and this cool Entei card. So I didn't have the best luck finding Ascendant Heroes, the newest set, on my trip in New Zealand during the release of the ETBs. I had the most luck at the Kmarts in New Zealand. Apparently they still exist over there. Managed to pick up a couple tins a couple times. So in New Zealand, there are plenty of card shops with community spaces though, which is great to see. I'm sure there's a lot of players in New Zealand. Fortunately, my time while I was there didn't line up with any card shows. I guess I'm pretty spoiled over here because we have one super often over in Portland, but I'd love to catch one time and check out the vibe. But you know, New Zealand is always great, and there's a ton of beautiful things to see. Hopefully I showed some of that in the video. The country is great, the people are super chill. Anyways, if you make it to the end of this video, appreciate you. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.